boy. Welcome back to another Commercial Trucking Chronicles. You guys remember Viacom? Viacom. Um, I guess they were an internet provider at one point for, it looks like, CMT. I think that was MTV. You can see the names on the shirts. All these little names of these people. They did MTV, CMT. So, I had a friend that worked there. They gave me a shirt. Anyway, welcome back to another video. It's Saturday. What's today? The 6th? Tonight might be the 6th. Wait a minute, I'll tell you. I'll tell you right now. Hold on. Yeah, it is. Today's the 6th. September 6th, 2025. The current market price of Bitcoin. We're going to give you a quick update on some of these market prices. Let me go to my ledger live. Hopefully I'm online over here. I'm going to take a look at my current portfolio, well, my ledger balance. Okay, looks good. We're holding strong. Bitcoin is at 110,000. Ethereum is 4,264. And XRP. And this is the top 5 cryptos I would give you an update on. Tether's $1, of course, third spot. XRP is $2.80. We're holding strong. 2, 3, 4, 5. BNB, $857. And Solana is holding steady at 200. Tether's a stable coin, basically. So it's only going to peg to $1. So every time I report on it, it's going to just say it's $1. But again, you got Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, BNB, and Solana. That's the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top five, dead or alive. How y'all doing, man? What's going on? So Saturday, I wanted to come to you guys really quick. This is my birthday month right here, so you guys gotta give me a break because guess what? I'm definitely gonna slow down the content, which I would have been. How y'all doing? Hey, how you doing? Mackenzie, Just Fairy, how you doing? Appreciate you coming in. Appreciate the likes. Thank you for the birthday wishes. It's later in the month. If you can guess my age, man, you know, I mean, I don't know what I can give you, but you know, what time here is the current time. We're on East Coast time. It's 3. Double check. Check my Rolex, right? My Rollie. This ain't a Rollie. This is a quartz. I got this for a birthday gift. But this is old. I had this for a few years. It's saying that it's 440. You see? 435 on my computer. So how you guys doing today, man? Anything exciting going on before I start talking about what it is I was wanting to discuss with you guys? Anybody, what's going on? Where you at? Let me know how how's your weekend going and stuff. Salud. Thank you. Nice. Yeah, I appreciate it. Look, this is one of my favorite watches. My daughter got it for me, of course. And my son-in-law, the two of them, 2 years ago as a birthday gift. And it's been one of my favorites. Actually, this isn't even the first watch she bought me. She buys me watches. They buy me watches. I got a Michael Kors. I remember I was with them and they were like, we went into a Michael Kors store and she bought me Exception Exposed wants to know, what was your first job? You mean on the books? You mean like I filled out an application and man, I used to be a paper boy. So that's going back to when I was in junior high school. I delivered newspapers in the neighborhood, and that was like an official job because I got paid um, like the newspaper company. But the lady that would come and collect the money from me, they paid me in cash. They didn't give me a check. That was my first job. That was pretty cool. And I'm gonna tell you something. I got to know everybody in the neighborhood, right? Um, because I delivered their newspaper. Days when it snowed, I would show up. Of course, I still delivered in the snow, right? I was reliable, and I'd show up and deliver their newspapers. I would shovel their driveways, or their really I didn't like do nobody's driveway if they didn't pay. I do their walkway so they can walk out and get the news, get to their mailbox. I did that. Then kind of, what I'm saying, each summer and stuff like that, like I had a lot of clients because my paper route began to grow and I had a lot of people. And then I started cutting grass for them, cleaning out their leaves out their gutters, so I was a hustler when I was young, man. I stayed with money, and it started from a paper route. That was my first job. What time did you get to work? That's fun. Want to know what time I got to work this morning? Why? You want to see? Are you clocking my hours? Chris wants to say, you clocking my hours? I was supposed to be there at, well, look, I come in a little early to do my pre-trip to inspect my vehicle. So, Christopher, fires. I'm fired. What do you mean I'm fired? Devil is a lie because I'm going to work on Monday. I got tomorrow off. Name a car for an edit. Name a car for an edit. Audi is a really nice car. I'm sitting the bench. Man, look, I got to have it. I can't sit the bench. Any blame it on any reason? The Lambo, you're talking big money cars. Which Audi? A6. The wider, the better. Kenzie, wait, do you live on the same side as American? I'm in America. I'm on the East Coast. AMG. Yeah, the Benz is nice. You're doing Audi A6. I'm doing Audi. Yeah, I'm doing Audi A6 too. Yeah. I see you guys want to talk about cars. My daughter just got a car. She just got her car. I don't know if you were following me, and her birthday just passed. Yeah, yeah, that's why. So you're in the morning. So where are you at? Evening, morning. Yeah, you on the whole way other side. You way on the whole other side. Shout out to you. I don't know where you from, but I know you way on the Australia. Okay, shout out Australia. That's what's up. Yo, make sure you subscribe, man. I need to I need you to inform me of what's going on over in Australia, man, because I have no clue. I've never been there, but I would love to come visit. Let's do it for me. what's up? You hear that rain? It's pouring. Hey, I appreciate you. No, you're awesome. You hear that rain? It's pouring out here. I just got off work. Appreciate you, Mackenzie. Mackenzie, where you from? Hope everything came out all right. He said he peed. You peed. Hope everything came out all right. Oh, okay, yeah, Mackenzie's from Australia. Okay. Exceptions exposed. I ain't going out there without a rain suit. And I'm really, I just got off work. I'm tired. I'm having a little cocktail. It's Saturday, Usually, we got a lot of stuff we trying to finish up for the week. For the month. For the season, actually. It's not even for the month. We got a lot of things on the plate, man. Likewise to you. You have a great day, too. All right. I don't know how many of you guys are going to stick around for the topic, but I'm going to get into what I want to discuss. I just found out some news today that they have a Hyundai, the car Hyundai? They have a Hyundai plant in, I think they said it was South America. Where's that, Georgia? No, it's South America. Not South America. Sorry, South Carolina. And Hyundai's out of, I guess they're out of North Korea, but they have plants here in the United States, right? And they just raided the plant, man. It's crazy. It's I don't want to start getting on, start talking and ranting, going on and on and on. Why? Because they raided the plant because they said that they had did a long investigation. There's been investigating into unfair work practices, just a number of things that I guess people that are working there were dropping a dime. And so there was this whole big investigation. Of course, now they're doing ICE raids here as well. So they said that a lot of the people they were detained were they were Asian.
In a statement,
or
immigration agents.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna let you hear this, right?
In a statement sent to CNN last night, Hyundai said the following regarding the immigration raid in Georgia. We are reviewing our processes to ensure that all parties working on our projects make
So it was in Georgia, my mistake.
full compliance that we demand of ourselves. This includes thorough vetting of employment practices by contractors and subcontractors. The company also said that Hyundai has zero tolerance for those who don't follow the law. In an interview with CNN, former Deputy Homeland Security Secretary under President Trump, Ken Cuccinelli, said conducting this type of raid is a major undertaking.
They raiding everywhere, man. Remember, I used to be when I was in the union, I was a bricklayer, right? They would raid, and people just. Here I am, I pay my dues. I'm a union bricklayer. I was a bricklayer before I got into trucking and all that. And it just doesn't surprise me. They raid job sites all the time, always raiding jobs, but it's never going to end. Like, even though these people are probably going to get fined, even though like where I worked at, the owner or whoever the contractor was that had whatever the contract wasn't playing by the law or by the rules, or I don't know. It's just, and it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. But there's this I don't know. There's just this this idea that if they, if they're able to, I guess there's this idea that if you're able to if you're able to perform the work, show up and you got to check, right? And so with my job, I'm able to perform. And this is my current job. Even back then when listen, let me tell you something. I got laid off a whole lot of times, but I still get unemployment. But the people that are up at the top, you know, they you know, they got, I guess they feel like they got to kind of balance out what, you know, with their, it's all about their pockets. It's at the end of the day, it's all about their pockets, right? Now, it's not about you, the worker. It's not fair to give people like these jobs, if they hired these people illegally and they knew that they didn't go through the process, it probably was going to go on for so long before people started to notice and started, don't get me, yo, there's people that throw you under the bus, man. This is America. This is America. All right. You can come over here and get a job, but at the same time, right? Somebody gonna try and rat you out because they just be hating. I mean, you know, let the man work, let him get a job. But they should have been hiring people the right way, and all these people wouldn't have been detained. And now they're sitting, you know, probably in a jail cell. They're not employed anymore. You know, I've seen this happen time and time again. This was just recently, but I'm going back some years when I used to be a bricklayer. Right? I've been driving trucks for 10 years now. So when I was in the union as a union bricklayer, you know, I used to we built schools, hospitals. Man, listen, they raided jobs all the time because some of the guys that were laboring, I don't know whether it was the union hall was getting word that, you know, you had people, and this is what the term was, that you were a scab. You're not a member of the union, right? And they said, oh, you got these scabs working on the job. And somebody would drop a dime to somebody at the State Department, and next thing you know, they're raiding the job site because they're like, oh, these are federal funds, these are union members, and we heard that you had people that were not union members working on the site, and it's the same thing all over. But these companies, you know, the companies that have the contracts, they don't care to pay a fine. They don't care to pay a fine. You know what I'm saying? Because they want to keep on, you know, bringing in that chapo. You know what I'm saying? It's like at the end of the day, they gotta get that money. Can you click it? Can you click? I'm not gonna click that. I don't even know what that is. How you doing? I'm leery about clicking. Two main things, but so that's what I was wanting to talk about because I find it ironic that Kia. Oh no, it's not Kia. I'm sorry, Hyundai, a big car manufacturer, a big, well-known car. You know, they don't got they don't have this. You know, it's big. I think they said that this place that they raided was like 6 acres of land. So they got these huge pieces of property where they put their, you know, they build these facilities. 6 acres of land. Imagine the people that they're taking. They're not taking. These people are Asian. They have a lot of Asian employees at this Hyundai. They're Americans. I don't know. Then it does say, and I could play a little more of it. It said a lot of them, they overstayed their visa. But like I said, there's this idea that if you can do the job, come and get the job without um, without proof of um, legal status to work in the country, and that's like a big thing. That's like they're making that a big thing. They are making that a big thing, man, because they have all these systems that now, when you fill out your application online and you submit it, like you have to certify, you have to have this whole big thing. Like that's trending so much. Like, you know what I'm saying? This immigration thing. It's the reason I figured, I would get up here and talk about it. But what's even worse, 475 arrested. 475 people were led to think that they had gainful employment because the owners are not following the law. It's not their fault. They showed up to do a job. You see what I'm saying? So I don't get it. Like it's corporate greed, if you ask me. Like these people, they know they're gonna pay a fine. They don't care about paying the fine. But at the end of the day, man, they're just they a lot of people are kind of just set up. They're being set up in ways they can't even imagine. But you gotta ask yourself too, right? If you're gonna go, all right, they just built a huge factory that's gonna bring in jobs, right? Okay. For all the people that are, and this is where they say unfair work practices, for all the people that might live in that area, right? They're excited. There's a whole big thing coming, 2 exits or 3 exits from where I live right now. The construction phase is going. It's at full steam ahead. So the people are happy in the area because they know this is job creation. But these owners, once they open their doors, right? Yo, I don't get it. Like they're not doing the hiring process is, for something like this, the hiring process you would think is going to be, seamless, right? It's going to be something you can, you can pretty much, if you got the right credentials, you can pretty much say, "Hi, man, I'm gonna go ahead and apply. I should get a phone call back." But I think that's where the unfair work practice is, because people that are qualified are not getting calls back, but it looks like they're calling these other applicants. I don't know that they're applicants because I don't know that they've submitted applications. I don't even know how that hiring process went. But I know they raided and shut it down. They shut it down. They raided and shut it down. ICE raided, Homeland Security raided. They said all these people, they had to, because this Hyundai manufacturing plant where they make these cars, it's like 6 acres. It's 6 acres. You start trying to run up on any side of this place, people are running out the back. That's how it used to be when I used to be when I was in Union, man. I mean, we were working on some big campuses, right? College campuses, buildings and stuff. And you see people running, people over there working. Like, wait a minute, they must be raiding. But it never stopped anything. It never stopped anything, right? Because they're already in, they're already in with the funds, the funding, the project. There's no just it coming to a halt. Now they're saying they want to cease operations immediately because of this. 400 and how many people were detained, but I don't know. These are South Korean people or the owners that own the Hyundai plant are from South Korea, but I know that there are Asian Americans, probably, let me say Asian, you must be talking about Korea, North Korea, Chinese, whatever. Some of those people were employed at the place, and um, they got busloads of them because they've overstayed their visas. So, no, that's something you want to be very, very, you want to be on top of. You want to be if you're traveling. Hey, babe, if you're if you're traveling, my daughter just came in. If you're traveling to another country and you have a visa and you're you get a work visa. If it expires, you got to renew it. It's just best to play by the rules. But these employers probably are just like, I don't know what they're thinking, what their thoughts are. Like, I know for a fact, like this is what I know. The minute in the industry that I'm in right now, the minute I have to carry with me a medical card, which allows me, it's just all part of the transportation system, right? Trucking, you have to be able to pass a physical, right? It's like an agility test. And I said that before, like anyone working in any specific field should be able to pass an agility test, because if you can't pass an agility test, but you have such a high demand job and people are really relying on you, the agility test or your medical card is going to say whether or not you are physically capable of showing up and performing the task that you're hired for. If you can't pass the test, then that says something about your ability, right? So I always said the agility test should be given to all politicians. It should be given to presidents and stuff like that, because they get all old and after a while they're stuck in their ways and they're making decisions, but they can't really think straight. I don't know. How you gonna have a police officer that can't even chase after a criminal, right? He's got to be able to pass an agility test. I would think, right? So. I don't know. I mean, the minute my certification that I have to carry on me, I have to carry that on me, or I'm in direct violation of all these rules and mandates and stuff that are overseeing or governing the line of work that I do, right, or my profession, right. The minute my thing is expire, because there's an expiration date. They want you to keep going back to get your checkups to make sure that you're physically capable of coming in, showing up, doing your work and stuff. And so if it's approaching its expiration date, typically my employer is going to reach out to me and say, hey, your car is coming up for renewal, right? Yeah, you need to go get another physical, right? Yeah, okay. So, nobody wants I definitely don't want that on my record, that I'm, operating a commercial vehicle and I don't have the proper credentials, because that's a deal breaker if you're trying to apply for a job. Right? Oh, you're not staying up on your renewal, your physical. You're renewing your medical card. You have to stay on top of that. Stay on top of your health. Stay on top of renewing your medical card as well, so that you can continue to go to work. Because the minute the doctor pulls it, the minute it expires, you can't go to work. So
Delays operation.
And so, who else is still here? Asking a bunch. I had a ton of questions in the beginning, and once I got into the topic, everybody took off like they was illegally working. They're all gone. Oh, he's talking. He's talking about being compliant, and compliant is the way to go. How about that, right? Being compliant is the way to be. Now we could try to, do, work tiptoe around, compliance and stuff like that. If I'm gonna go over to where my man say he was from, Australia. If I'm gonna travel to Australia and I'm gonna be visiting, and I decide while I'm there I want to work, I have to get the proper credentials to be able to. I would think, I don't know if I could. There's always the under the table money. Somebody would pay me for my services. Oh yeah, cut my grass, or you know, rake my leaves, or take my trash to the trash can and dump it, and I'll pay you. I'll give you something like a few bucks. Doing work like that is, oh yeah, come help me. Some people have farms. Help me out on my farm, and we'll barter. I'll give you a place to stay, or I'll feed you and house you, and you can stay here, but you got to help me farm. Kind of sharecrop type of thing. Those things still exist today. On the down low, of course, but it does. And so I imagine that if that was a more broad system, then more people would do it. But everybody's looking for the dollar bill, and most dollars follow a paper trail, and most paper trails that places of employment keep is typically all the right documents and everything that's right in place. This place obviously wasn't doing that, and then they end up getting raided. Who knows what they were paying these people? Who knows how much they were paying them? If they were paying them the lesser wage than what the wage, the minimum, wage or pay scale probably is. I'm sure once they completed, and this place has only been up and running. This Hyundai plant has only been up and running for 1 year. So before with the construct, before they opened their doors, and when they had their construction phase, I'm almost 100% that there's the whole bidding process to be able to become the the contractors that would either supply the material or furnish the labor to assemble, to erect the building. Okay. And that process, bidding on those jobs, if it's labor only, and I don't know. I mean, the bidding process, it can go a number of ways. We just want you to give us a labor only price, right? How much are you charging to come in and manufacture or to erect the building? You see what I'm saying? Or it may have been one of those contracts where they were like, well, we want a price for labor and material. Of course, if you have labor and material, that runs the numbers up. So you don't just have a labor. Labor is, of course, labor. Material is every bit of transporting those materials to the job site and then erecting them. So there's that as well. You can't leave that out. Don't think that the labor and material just means labor and material. It's labor, material, and the transport of said materials to the job site. So plus the taxes. So yeah, I don't know how they bid that, but I'm pretty sure that they stuck to a strict bidding process to get that. And like I said, maybe they built that plant 100% labor and the materials already like on the job site. I doubt it. I doubt it. But fast forward, once the business was up and running, then they started bringing in it's not an automated plant. Most plants, when they're making vehicles and stuff like that, even if they do have the technology and they're using the computers or high tech stuff to zoom, the assembly line type of thing, everybody's using probably some kind of a robot or something that lifts or punches or pulls or whatever. It's still it's being powered, manpower. You gotta have manpower. So I'm wondering, since they took all these people out of here, where did it go wrong? Where did it go wrong? Like, were people not being fairly paid, and they decided, hey man, I'm gonna I'm gonna raise some concerns and start making some complaints. I don't think I'm getting paid fairly over here, or who knows? It looks like I'm over here, doing a job that I didn't apply for. You ever did that? You ever apply for a job and then when you got hired, wind up doing a job that you didn't apply for? Right. I don't know how I became the janitor, but that's what they gave me. They gave me a daggone. My daughter just shook her head. She said, yep. She knows that all too well. So it happens. It happens. And it's kind of crazy, but that's,
Hyundai plant describe a chaotic scene after an immigration raid at the facility. Federal authorities say Thursday's raid was the result of a months-long investigation by several agencies. The crackdown, the largest so far on U.S. work sites, led to 475 arrests of Korean nationals. Some of the workers tried to flee as word of the raid spread. CNN's Rafael Roma is covering the story. What more are you learning of what was really a chaotic scene?
It was difficult to find out details about what actually transpired the first couple of days, but now we're hearing from people and officials exactly what happened. And one of the things that we have learned, some of the details that we have learned, Fred, after the massive raid conducted Thursday, include that officers spoke with each worker one by one to determine which were in the U.S. legally and allowing some to leave while taking undocumented immigrants into custody. By the time they were done at 8 p.m. on Thursday, agents had arrested 475 people, most of them Korean nationals, making it the largest sweep yet in the current Trump administration's immigration crackdown at American job sites. CNN obtained a video that shows a Homeland Security Investigations agent telling workers to cease operations immediately. Let's take a look.
Can't even go to work, and it's crazy, but this was happening. So, other news, like I said, man, then of course I made a short the other day that so. The United States has used I don't know where there was a ship that was supposed to be smuggling some drugs in, and then they shot the ship down, right? They shot it down with a drone. How are you using drone? You got to use those drones here. They got to use them drones here in places like instead of sending the National Guard into certain areas, I think they probably, use the drones. If you send the drones out and start actually, I don't know, they use them. They say they could fire at you. Man, some of the people that are out, I don't know, man. You know what? I could just be wrong. It probably wouldn't even work. Some people don't care. They'll run up on you and still try and carjack you. So you can't stop carjacking with drones. So that's how the picture. But you can, right? And my dog is looking at me like, is that what we were talking about? You want to talk about carjacking and drones? No, I'm just saying that we have technology that can do like so much policing that these streets should be safer than they are, especially in cities like, Chicago or DC, or, South Central. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it does make for a a good and on an international scale, it does make for some good publicity to be able to say, hey man, we stopped all of the fentanyl, and we used a drone. I don't know. I just feel like they could be doing a lot more with that technology, man, to keep people safe here. I mean, using it for the security or secure, our international waters is, yeah, that cuts down on having to make, all these hundreds of millions of billions of dollars in aircraft, right? Oh, Lord. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, that was it. That's it. That was what I was basically kind of wanting to discuss and talk about because I saw this news and I said, man, at this point, like, and we all know, right, that they're just, undocumented people working, keeping the country going. We know that. A lot of places that we go to, that I go to, it's very obvious that there's been a shift in the workforce from it being everyday, your kind of American citizens that you would think, like your neighbors and stuff. Now it's more or less everyday. You're asking yourself like, what country are these people from, right? And just out of curiosity, just because of being purely curious, right? And I understand people fear things they don't know, right? There's people that and they're just so afraid. I was at a store the other day. We were at the store the other day. We stopped real quick to grab a bite to eat, and there's a lot of traffic and a lot of people coming, where this particular spot is. Like, it's like the go-to spot. It's there, right? Some people that go up in there are just regulars. Some of the regulars are scared to death when they encounter someone that just looks different. Like we gotta learn how to just be tolerant of diversity. People don't. A lot of people don't tolerate diversity. But I'm gonna tell you something. In this day and age, in this world that we live in right now, you have so many diverse, like I know that at one time it was like, okay, you had one group that only had, mixed with one group, but a lot of people mix so much now. Like if you're curious, like, oh man, you know, my daughter's friend is, what is that girl? I'm gonna tell you her true nationality. This girl, if I can remember it, I have to think. Panama. I think she is. Hey, Alana, what'd you say your friend was? That girl. The girl, your friend that you work with. What country is she from? She's mixed with what? Yes. What two nationalities? That's all I need to know. Chinese. Peruvian. Chinese and Peruvian. Chinese and Peruvian. So curiosity, people will become curious. Like I was kind of curious at first when I met her. I was, where is she from? What is, Then when you find out, you're like, okay, but this is more and 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 more common. More and more and more and more common. So, we have to be tolerant of that. We can't fear it. We can't fear that, that we can. I'm not afraid because I don't know or understand a person's ethnic background or where they come from. And I was in a store the other day, like I said, and it's a spot where it's the go-to spot. It's not really much out there, but it's got a lot of traffic, people coming in there, the regulars. I'm sure if the person wasn't a regular, they probably drove by before, but they, oh, let me stop in here and see. And you find out that, this place has a lot. Every time you go in there, it's packed, especially at lunchtime. And there's just so many different people, but they're from everywhere. And one lady, she walked all the way around the car and went around this way. And then I'm just sitting outside, I'm looking at her. Then she comes back, and when she comes out, she walks by us. It's like, she wants to say hi, like, hi. So I'm like, hey, how you doing? But I guess I don't know. I mean, I'm used to being in big metropolitan cities where you got nothing but diversity. Some people down here, I'm in the South now. They're just now starting to kind of get their exposure to more and more and more and more and more people that are just coming from everywhere. The word done got out. Like I found out the word done got out about the Carolinas. So now everybody's coming here. You know what I'm saying? And you talking about diversity. Like I said, you could be somewhere where you think that, this is just somewhere out in the middle of
Completely change the story.
Nowhere, or whatever the case is, whatever. A lot of these people, they don't know that there are people that are from different areas. They still in their mind think that this is all the same old everybody's cut from the same cloth, or well, then they got another different cloth. We heard about that cloth, so we're a little familiar with it. But
You know, there's a lot of different fabric out here of humanity and different, nationalities. People will surprise you, you don't look like you speak a language, but then again, you know and understand the language very well. I don't have to go around talking about it, but I can speak it. I can understand it. You know what I'm saying? And I would surprise people because they're like, who would have never thought? Well, maybe you should stop limiting your thinking, right? And start, kind of considering the idea that there's more diverse, people and language, and there shouldn't be as much of a barrier as we make it, right? So these jobs, if it wasn't for all the laws, if it wasn't for all the laws, if it wasn't for all of the greed and stuff like that, I think that we would have more of a diverse workforce, right? And when I say what I mean by the greed, because what happens is a lot of times, these places look to hire people that are of a different ethnicity, only to pay them less money. Or we can't pay you as much as the regular people here that speak the language. And I'm like, that's crazy. You're driving prices down. That's greed. Don't you know that in back in the country where the man may be or the woman may be from, there's no language barrier in their professions and they're professionals in this profession. So when they come here, just because they have the language barrier, they still have the professional skill. So the pay scale shouldn't be they're doing it for less. Why? Because they speak a different language. He's a professional, and he shouldn't be having to do it for cheap. He shouldn't be doing it for cheap. So that's my thing there. Like, don't sell yourself short. I don't care if you take a working visa and go live in Australia and you're working in Australia. I'm gonna tell you, Australian employers right now, if I ever come out there where my man's from, right? He says, if I ever come out there where my man's from and apply for a job, I want top dollar. I don't even care if I don't know how to do the job. I'm gonna still ask for top dollar. I ain't coming in. Oh yeah, you paying so and so for this, but I'm gonna do it for less. Nope, we're not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. Matter of fact, buy some Bitcoin and then you ain't gotta worry about it. You ain't work for nobody no more. Buy some XRP, buy some crypto. That's it. Look, that's a